Hi folks! What would have happened if dinosaurs had not gone extinct? This is a question that is often asked, particularly or Tyrannosaurus is the subject of much interest to people, as it is one of the most famous dinosaur species. Welcome to our channel. As always, we will try to clarify if Tyrannosaurus had survived the mass extinction between the Cretaceous and Paleogene periods, how different the Earth would be today. And you are interested? So let's get started, but first, subscribe to the channel, leave your likes and activate the notifications to receive more great videos. Doomed to extinction. Before trying to answer this question, we first need to know two things about the tyrannosaur. What kind of life did the tyrannosaur live, and what exactly caused its extinction? What is commonly known to the public is simply that it was the largest and most powerful of dinosaurs, the dinosaur that preyed on everything, and it became extinct because of a meteorite. But this is a very partial view. There is of course some truth in it, but in reality the situation is a bit more complicated. To begin with, there are a few things that need to be understood. The commonly used term Tyrannosaurus refers to a single species, the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Other dinosaurs belonging to the family Tyrannosauridae, or more precisely the family Tyrannosaurus, will not be discussed here in this video for the sake of clarity. Tyrannosaurus refers to that species that is better known and more common to the public. Tyrannosaurus was not found everywhere on Earth. In fact, its range was limited to a small continent, Laramidia, which existed during the late Cretaceous period. This is the western equivalent of today's North American continent. Laramidia was a continent long from north to south, but very narrow from east to west, bordered on the west by the Pacific Ocean and on the east by the so-called Western Inland Sea, which is now covered by land. Tyrannosaurus is often considered the largest dinosaur of all time, but in practice this is not true. However, at 13 meters long and weighing about 9.5 tons, the scale of its greatness was impressive. There is no doubt that it was a carnivore, but it is still unclear how it hunted. Some researchers believe that Tyrannosaurus did not stalk prey, but was more of an ambush predator in the dense forests of the Cretaceous. Many others believe that they were scavengers and ate carrion. However, some doubt whether they were actually scavengers. On the other hand, tyrannosaurs may have fed on both live prey and carrion. In any case, the number of tyrannosaurs themselves was never that large. If you stop to think about it, the continent of Laramidia was not that large, and Tyrannosaurus was not found anywhere else like other dinosaurs. Or tyrannosaurs. It was probably the warm-blooded animal. This means that its basal metabolic rate was quite high, which meant that it needed a lot of food to sustain itself. Because of its large size, its needs would have been even greater. The forests of Laramidia were teeming with a wide variety of creatures, but they could not have fed that many tyrannosaurs. In fact, for a species with a small population and high food demands, any significant change in habitat would be a death sentence in itself. It is possible for species to adapt to reduced food requirements if their body size decreases over the course of evolution. However, evolution occurs based on changes in the genetic traits of offspring in the first place. If the number of offspring is small, there is almost no chance that mutations will arise to help them adapt to their new environment. It was precisely for this reason that large dinosaurs like the tyrannosaur were the first victims of the famine that was suddenly triggered by a meteorite impact. When that terrible asteroid crashed, the dust ejected by the impact covered the sun and plunged the Earth into years of winter. Eventually, the mass extinction between the Cretaceous and Paleogene periods wiped out all dinosaurs, pterosaurs, and ichthyosaurs except birds. Although some of these species survived for a short time, the tyrannosaur disappeared prematurely. In short, there was essentially no chance for a tyrannosaur to survive a meteor impact. Even if it did not have the meteor impact, it would still be doomed to eventual extinction during the Cretaceous period. The world itself was irreversibly changed. The continents on Earth took on their present form. Flowering plants appeared and expanded. Its inhabitants, the mammals, despite their small size, rapidly increased in population. In many places, mammal fossils have been found in greater numbers than dinosaurs and reptiles. Mammals that fed on dinosaur eggs. Flowering plants improved the soil, thus reducing shoreline erosion, and this changed the chemical composition of the oceans. A world with tyrannosaurs. Let us now imagine a world in which, against all odds, the tyrannosaur miraculously survived. In this case, the entire ecosystem of the Earth would have been affected. If so, how would this have affected us humans? Would we hunt the tyrannosaurs, or would humans be hunted by them, the tyrannosaurs? Most likely, they would have occupied ecological status as a large predator. How would its presence affect the evolution of life? It depends on how far it would be able to expand its habitat. On the other hand, it depends on how continental plants would move. For example, suppose that Laurasia had not merged with other land masses on the North American continent. In this case, the tyrannosaur would be endemic only to that continent, like the Australian kangaroo. Other parts of the planet would have evolved unaffected by it. Dinosaurs would have eventually become extinct or relegated to a narrow position at the edge of the ecosystem. Perhaps the European explorers who discovered Laurasia in the era of the Great Navigations would describe the tyrannosaur as a monstrous dragon. Now, let's assume that Laurasia became part of the North American continent, according to actual geological history. Tyrannosaurus would probably have extended its range over the entire continent, or at least over forested areas. It would have migrated further south into the jungles of Central America during the Ice Age, and then into South America after it merged into one continent. Before long, he should have been living somewhere in the Amazon jungle. Tyrannosaurus would never be found outside the Americas. It is unlikely that it could have traveled north during the last Ice Age, crossing the frozen Bering Strait, and settled on the Eurasian continent. It would have been too cold there to survive. But what impact on biodiversity could have resulted from this? At the very least, a number of large carnivorous mammals would have declined. This is due to the fact that the Tyrannosaurus would have occupied its ecological position. At the same time, small scavengers would have thrived, eating the leftovers from the banquet of this mighty dinosaur. Would Tyrannosaurus have been a danger to humans? Interestingly, it is not clear. If you encountered a hungry Tyrannosaurus while walking unarmed through the jungle, that would be a clear harbinger of misfortune. However, an organized group of hunters might well be able to lure it into a pit and finish it off. For example, the Tyrannosaur's bulky body would be an excellent source of meat for the entire tribe, and its skin should provide material for clothing. It is highly likely that the Tyrannosaur actually had feathers, and they would have been used by humans as ornaments. When European colonization with firearms began, the hunting of tyrannosaurs would increase rapidly. They would probably become an endangered species, and rich people would have been able to buy tyrannosaur skin boots on the black market instead of crocodile skin. Well, everybody, it's time to go. Now, that's all for now. Thank you for watching our video. I hope you enjoyed it. This time we consider only one scenario, the scenario if Tyrannosaurus was the only one to escape extinction. If all the large Cretaceous reptiles had survived, everything would have been very different. Probably mammals would have continued to live a normal life at the outer edges of the ecosystem, and humans would not have existed. But of course, if you ask in the comments, we will show you all the details in an upcoming video here on our channel. By the way, please subscribe to our channel. Activate the little bell to be the first to receive notifications of new releases, and also leave your like. That is the best compliment we can receive. We'll say goodbye for now, but see you soon here on the channel. A big hug and see you there.